All right, everybody, welcome to our end of June webinar. As I said earlier, time is flying. It's great to be back here. It's nice to see you all. Thank you all for joining us for another one of our webinars. As always, we got a great one here for you. We have a very thoughtful one, and we're going to have some follow-ups on this one as well coming over the next few months to extend today's discussion into future discussions, because this is a big one and an important one, and we're glad you're all attending today. I did want to welcome everybody. It is looking like up here in Toronto, like Armageddon is happening in the skies. The skies are black right now. I'm hoping my sorry about that. I'm hoping my power doesn't go out today, and we'll try to keep this going for as long as we can, but it does look like a great summer storm is about to happen. So bear with me here. Welcome to Own Your Audience, Strategies to Grow and Capitalize on Your Listener Data. You are in the right room if this is what you came for, so sit tight and let's get right into it. As always, a little bit of housekeeping. Please feel free to ask us questions in the GoToWebinar sidebar there. You can ask some questions, and my colleague Shay is on the keyboard there. She'll be doing her best to address your questions in real time. In the event that she can't, definitely she'll take them away, and we'll be sure to get back to you in the next little while. As mentioned to our early group who showed up a little early, the keeners, if you will, please don't hesitate to download the Ask the Experts takeaways from our previous webinar. We had 4 amazing expert digital panelists, Jeff Schmidt, Seth Resler, Randa Papul, and Socast's very own Victor Giacomelli. We summarized all of their takeaways and the questions we had, so you can download that. And please take a minute to fill out a few of the polls that we put up there, just to give us a sense of what is happening out there in the world. It's very helpful for you to provide us that information. You can also tweet your thoughts about the webinar at Socast and use the hashtag digital dollars. As always, my name is Eric Eyes and I head up sales and marketing here at Socast, and I absolutely love presenting these. So let's get into it. As always, before we get into it, the main topic, Socast is a platform that is designed to make digital growth easy for our radio broadcast friends. When I talk about digital growth, I'm really talking about enabling our radio broadcast partners the ability to grow their digital audience through all of the digital channels that your audience is looking for you in, whether it's web, app, through Alexa smart speakers, through your stream or a player. We can help you with our integrated content management system, and we integrate it even further with an advertising platform to help you grow your digital revenue. Whether you're selling your owned and operated inventory, that's videos, display inventory on your websites and apps, or attempting to get into the programmatic market and deliver audience extension capabilities and campaigns to your advertisers, we can definitely help you with all those things. And we provide not just the software and the platform, but the expertise you need. We are radio specific, and we can help radio broadcasters of all shapes, sizes, and digital sophistication levels. So also don't hesitate to reach out to Shay in the questions to book a demo. We'd love to talk to you. So what's the buzz? What are we talking about today? Well, really, it comes down to just one thing: data, data, data. And I'd like to start out just by saying, data is a massive buzzword. You hear it all the time. And, broadcasters, everybody, advertisers are trying to get their hands around it. Everybody wants a piece of data. It's really our position, and the facts really state that to make really good use of data, you need a significant critical mass of it. But that's not entirely true. Even for some of the smaller broadcasters and smaller markets that are just aggregating small amounts of data, certainly, yeah, you're not going to need the data dissection tools and analytics tools that some of the organizations out there with millions of bits of data have, but you can do something with your data. And we're going to cover a bunch of things today We're going to be busy bees here and show you a few different things. We're going to talk a little bit about where your data comes from, what are the benefits, and why is first-party data essential. We'll help you define first-party data as well. We want to talk about some KPIs or key performance indicators, KPIs, metrics that will help you measure success and give you some benchmarks to start out. And then we're going to talk about some tactics to growing and utilizing your data. Again, whether you're small or you're large, we're trying to provide tangible, tactical guidance and ideas that you can take back to your organization tomorrow to use. We always aim to do that. We try not to be too theoretical, and we try to be as practical as possible. So we're going to aim to do that in our what we'll cover today. So let's talk about why data is important. Well, it really is your mission as radio broadcasters and your businesses, if you break it down to the simplest terms, to really grow your audience and grow your revenue. Really, those are the two kind of pillars that radio broadcasters aspire to do. And one absolutely feeds the other. It is core to the radio business. The amazing thing about digital is it enables you to capture the data you need to do that. And it's also really important to realize that as radio broadcasters, you have a unique level of trust with your local communities to ask permission to take that data based upon that trust. As trusted publishers, you really can have that brand safety, you have that air of being trustworthy content providers within your markets. And this is data that you can't get from AC Nielsen for your sales team. Data really gives you more insights today to make really good business decisions on really both sides of the pinwheels you see in front of you, whether it's on your programming side and creating and deploying and sharing content, or whether it's on the sales side and enabling your sales team with the tools, materials, and evidence they need to both get new advertising partners and retain existing ones. So what is first-party data and why is it so important? Well, first-party data is the information that you collect directly from your audience or your customers. Your audience is primarily your customers as well. It includes data about behaviors, about actions, about interests, and that these are all aggregated through a variety of different channels and sources. And again, I can't stress enough that critical mass is beneficial, but everybody can benefit to some degree, regardless of the data mass that they have available to them. There are really, I've narrowed down the 5 benefits of collecting first-party data, and I really think it comes down in one way, shape, or form to these 5 points. First of all, for revenue growth, it really will provide your sales team with valuable insights and tools to learn more about your audience and to go out and sell your audience to your advertisers. Really help them pinpoint specific advertisers that may benefit from advertising with you, or even a population or subsegment of your audience that you will go out and sell for premium dollars because you have such a loyal following. It also allows you, as we said earlier, to personalize content and communications and develop your content strategy based upon your listeners and their specific interests, their demographic and psychographic makeups. And it allows you also to see what's working and identify and reproduce success on both the sales front and the programming front. That is really critical. It also helps you develop that content and ensure that you can pair your programming both on air and off air with great content. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the second half of our webinar today. It also will tell you what channels you should be publishing out to and what levels of interest people have coming in from different channels. It'll also allow you to do some more of take advantage of more of the advertising tech that's out there today and do some retargeting in the programmatic space. And for those of you who are in the know, you know that the big tech companies are now talking about cookie deprecation, and the cookie conundrum is coming. So as you collect that first party data, and that is so valuable to do that sort of ad extension and to do advertising today, it's really going to become more and more important than ever to collect that first party data so you can stay ahead of the curve for that deprecation of cookies and pixels and things like that. We are going to be doing a webinar on that later on in the second half of July. We'll tell you more about that as we plan that, but right now we're planning for the last week of July, so stay tuned for that because that's a big deal that everybody should be on top of and aware of. So where does your data come from? Well, radio's data comes from a variety of different sources. It can come from mobile apps, whether it's through push notifications, conversations you allow for on your apps. It can come from websites, contests, fan clubs, polls, content, commenting. It can come from contesting, whether it's digital. Of course, you have all been used to having the traditional phone lines as your contesting channel. Or on-site activation. You can get information now collected when you're doing off-sites or live remotes. It can also come from things like newsletters, social media, and of course, membership databases or fan clubs as well. So you have a wide variety every day of tools to help you aggregate all of this information for you and to take advantage to collect this first-party data. Some of the tools more specifically that you can use to start analyzing the data that are free to you and available to you, or at least some of you, are Google Analytics. Google Analytics is critical in this day and age to make sure that you are set up on. It may take some practice and expertise to get set up on that. Of course, Socast has some in-house expertise. We can help you for any of our partners up there if you feel you're not taking advantage of your Google Analytics. But it is a very important tool to have set up because it will provide you with all of your web and mobile app activities and metrics, and even let you explore the demographic nature of the audience that's visiting your websites or apps, the channels they're coming in from, where they're coming in from geographically, what platforms or portals they're using, or what operating systems they're coming to you. So really a huge, vast data source for you to dig into, to take advantage of, to decide where your content should go out, where you should be catering to your audience and really finding them. It will also give your sales team a great amount of data on the value of advertising on some of your owned and operated properties as well. If you are a Socast partner, we have a new Socast executive dashboard built right into the Socast platform, which provides you a simple view of the Google Analytics results. It also allows you to see trends over time and compare results from period to period. We have some really good AI built in to identify trends and how things are contributing over time. It allows you again to identify and reproduce success by evaluating what tools are working, whether it's blogs or push notifications or contests or anything like that that are really driving your views, your traffic, your tune-ins, and your usership. So a very critical tool to get access to. And again, it's easy to access if you are a Socast partner and share, as is Google Analytics once you get it set up. On the Socast platform, you also have a membership database. And if you're not using Socast, that's okay. If you're using a contesting tool or you're using another content management system, it's essential that you do have a membership database and that you have the ability to aggregate and sort of analyze the details of your P1s, because the people who are your most loyal followers, the people who are willing to give you that information, are the ones who are going to sign up, who are going to enter your contest time and time again and provide you with more and more data. So it's very important that you do have a membership database and you have the tools you need, which we'll talk about further on in this session, to really take advantage of capturing that data. A good membership database will also allow you to curate your communications, meaning it will allow you to send out newsletters or birthday club wishes or anything of that nature, so you can really talk to in a targeted way to specific segments of your audiences. Other tools of value that you should be aware of course, is Google DoubleClick for Publishers, now Google Ad Manager, or your ad server. These are not necessarily first-party data tools, but they are still valuable data sets that you can use to make business decisions and content decisions and advertising and sales decisions as well. You can use Facebook, Twitter, or any other social media platform. They all provide great analytics tools. Your streaming provider should be able to provide you a lot of insights on time spent listening, how much bandwidth is being used, where the sources of your tune-ins are coming from. Of course, if you have a social relationship management tool like Socast or Hootsuite, those also should provide you with some social analytics on who are your best publishers, what content is resonating with your audience, etc. And then there are some very advanced, if you do have that critical mass of data, where you have hundreds of thousands or more pieces of data that you really need a tool to dig in deeper. You can use tools like QuantCast, great tool for your sales team to analyze your data and propensity, or Crux, which is a digital management platform as well. And I've provided the URLs, so you can all, after this, go in and look at those as well. But those are some other great data tools of value. Let's talk about some helpful hints and data pitfalls. So again, you can have the greatest data in the world, but if someone hasn't gone through and pulled out the important insights and put it into a format that allows someone to easily understand it, it's useless, says Erica Farber, president of the RAB. So we do subscribe to this as well. And some questions that you need to sit down with and ask your team. Very basic, simple questions, 6 of them. Do I have the tools to measure? So are you set up on Google Analytics? Do you have a membership database that lets you look into these things? Second, are you collecting data? Are you actually asking for really good information from your P1s, from the people who opt into your contests or your insider club, membership club, whatever it may be? Can you see the data? Do you have access to it, and is it being shared across your entire organization? Lastly, is your data clean? And it's important to have good data hygiene, meaning if you have people who haven't engaged with you or haven't entered a contest in a really long time, periodically clean it up. That way you'll have better, more rich insights for your sales team and your content teams to go out and ensure that they are really have the most important and valuable data to help them achieve their goals. And you need to sit down with your team. What data is most important to them and helpful for both programming and sales, and outline what data would help them do it. Data best practices, very important to break down the silos between sales and programming and share all of this data. Most radio broadcasters that we speak to, at least when they first start getting into digital and starting to dissect their data, they really have silos between sales and programming. You know, they're not sharing information. So programming may be looking at detailed insights on the audience makeup for a specific radio station, who's visiting their website, is it male, is it female, where are they visiting from? That is incredibly valuable information that also needs to leap over and really work with sales as well, because the sales teams can go out and sell, not that information per se, but utilize that information to go out and sell more effectively and retain customers more effectively. Both can benefit from the same data. You should have weekly or bi-weekly meetings and share your data regularly and consistently. Even if it's monthly, that's okay. But the most important thing is to be consistent. Make sure that you have some goals in mind. Benchmark, start with the data you have, benchmark yourself, and work together both between sales and programming to collaborate on ways to improve. And as I said on the previous slide, make sure you're purging and ensuring the integrity of your data to make sure that your sales team and that your programming team has the most up-to-date content strategies and sales tools that are needed. Ask for updated opt-in info periodically from your database. Send out an email asking if they're still there, if they still want to receive information from you. It's nice for them to hear it, and that's a really great way for you to keep your data nice and clean. And definitely purge anybody who hasn't been active in an excessively long time. Make sure you have sell sheets with did you knows, with website and mobile app and social media information related to each specific site. So your sales team can preach the benefits of advertising on those properties. How many impressions, case studies, etc., that will really help your sales team with data to back up their stories. Remember, salespeople have to become marketing experts to their local advertisers and not just trying to go in there and sell them a package. This type of data will really help them. Make sure you're identifying and reproducing success, as I've said a number of times here today. If you have viral stories or viral content that has really blown up, make sure you're trying to replicate that and identify amongst the audience, what was it about it? What channel was it put in? Was it video? Was it social? Was it a blog or a news story about a specific content? So you can really start to attempt to reproduce that. And listen to the data. It really speaks. It really has value. And you don't need to look at a million different metrics. You just need to look at a few. So you can drive data-based decisions for both programming and support your sales team with strong metrics and tools to go out and sell. So I've said key performance indicators, and I've said, a number of times of using, metrics to really evaluate. So what are some of them? So what is some of the key data points to get you started? Well, one of them is page views, obviously, and we've given you some benchmarks to start with based upon some of our partners and whether they're small, medium, or large market, and where you should benchmark yourself in terms of page views. Page views are just really just the number of visitors that come to see your website. And of course, it's important because the more eyeballs on your site, the more ad impressions you can generate, the easier it is to sell your websites, mobile apps, etc. So some optimization tips we've listed here. Host all of your content on your website and make sure that you have optimized it for search so people can find it. You don't want to be directing people to other websites. If you are and you're using RSS feeds, try to find a solution with your content management provider to make them native to your site so people aren't bouncing off your site, and we'll talk about that more momentarily. Make sure you're using on-air callouts. I think it's really important to bridge the gap between programming on air and programming online, and make sure that in those weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly digital meetings that you are examining how your on-air team can drive traffic to your websites, drive traffic to your mobile apps, and increase the levels of engagement there. A big way to do that is to increase your social distribution and make sure that you're socially active to drive traffic back to your websites. It's really important to review the source of the traffic and cater to that as well. There are so many different channels today that your audience is looking for you in: web, mobile apps, on social media, on smart speakers. Make sure you're tailoring your content to the audiences and the channels with which they're engaging with you on. And of course, most important, always track these type of metrics using Google Analytics or another format. Another very critical key performance indicator is average session duration. This will really tell you and your advertisers how much time people actually spend on your site. And the more time they spend on your site, obviously, the better value for your advertisers, more impressions that may be gained. The average session duration for Socast clients is greater than 2 minutes, and that is a strong one. We have clients that are up around 4 or 5, and we have those that are around 40 seconds. A lot of that is predicated on whether the content, again, is native to their site, whether their content is engaging, whether their content has rich media in it, great headlines, video or audio or photos at the very least. Make sure that you have a social area on your website to keep people engaged in a conversational area. Also make sure that your website is designed with great user interface so people can navigate through it. Too much content in this day and age is a negative. People are looking to navigate sites easily. And of course, mobile responsiveness. If your site is not mobile responsive, that will significantly increase the next metric, your bounce rate. And a bounce rate is very simply the percentage of users who navigate away after viewing only one page. The value of the bounce rate, or why it's important, is a high bounce rate will lead to fewer page views and lower session durations. Now, it really is important to start looking at why people may bounce. They may bounce because they return to the search result because your content wasn't compelling enough, or they closed their browser, or they entered a new URL, or they followed a link off of your website. Google Analytics will allow you to see which channels drive higher bounce rates and which devices also drive higher bounce rates. So that's why mobile responsiveness is essential. For your advertisers, bounce rates indicate that people explore more than a page on your digital properties and that you are producing compelling website traffic. And another web metric that we're going to look at is, again, just how your load times are, making sure, because the longer the load times, the higher the bounce rate. So some key optimizations there: make sure your user experience is strong on your website, navigation is easy, and it's easy to find the most common things people are looking for. There's no point in having content on your site that nobody is engaging with. Try to go minimalist and really shrink that down. Try to include links to other content on your website. So at the end of a blog, Socast platform, for example, has what we call content discovery tool, meaning it will pull up at the bottom of a blog the other most popular, most viewed, or most shared content. So people don't bounce off after just reading that blog. They may find other content they want. It's also important to make sure that your content and your blogs and everything like that are tagged appropriately for search engine optimization. And again, we can't stress enough, avoid driving people away from your site and to other provider sites. This has a negative impact on your search engine optimization. It also has, because Google will frown upon the quality of that content, it also pushes people away and creates a high bounce rate and keeps people off your site. Database growth is the percentage of new members in your database. And this is important because it allows you to measure the effectiveness of your content and your digital strategies, as well as provide your sales team with valuable insights to take to their advertiser. A good benchmark based on Socast clients is growth rate of a minimum of greater than 20% per year. So you really want to keep that going. And you really want to make sure that you're driving database growth and sign up. It's interesting because there are a couple ways people do this, and we're going to talk more about those. But some people will drive people to landing pages, which our partners see as the least popular type of sign-up form for membership databases. But funny enough, it has the highest conversion rate. It makes sense because you get the most engaged listeners who are willing to click on that. And that tends to be at around 25% conversion of those people who sign up. If you have pop-ups on your screen right when you load the site, those tend to have a very low conversion rate, according to Omnisend, and of around 4%. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing it, but again, you should be evaluating it using Google Analytics to see, and your membership database to see the source of sign up. It's also important to create original content to grow your database, provide compelling reasons for your audience to provide data, leverage contesting, fan clubs or insider clubs, in-app conversations where people have to log in or have to sign into the membership database to make comments on news stories or on social media. Also, newsletters are valuable tools to entice. And again, as I mentioned, driving to land up page and limit the pop-up is probably the best, most modern user experience. So your membership database provides you with critical targeting data for both programming and sales, as we've alluded to a number of times. And you want to review this membership database and break it down for your sales team by station and by these 5 different variables as well. So make sure you're sharing with your sales team What is the predominant gender? Where are the predominant locations that our audience is visiting us from? What are their interests and what have they opted in for? And we will talk more about opt-ins, but a good membership database and contesting tool will allow you to ask questions at the point of entry, such as buying propensity or whether they want to opt in for communications from specific advertisers or specific communications from you. That information can be very, very valuable and enable your sales team to go out and sell targeted advertising to targeted segments within your database. It also tells you what channels of entry. Again, we just discussed whether they're coming in through the pop-up form, whether they're coming in through a landing page, a contest, through social media referrals, etc. And it should also be able to tell you how engaged they are, how frequently they are visiting you, and what their level of activity is with the content you're putting on your site. We're going to continue on with a few more data points here that are worth mentioning. Monthly downloads for your mobile app is a great tool for your sales team to have to help them sell the app, and tells you and your advertisers how many downloads your mobile app receives each month. It's important to also measure sort of the attrition or the leakage of that as well, and make sure that that leakage level is low, or the people who are offboarding from your app, because not all users stick around forever. So you want to make sure that your listing in the app stores is optimized. You want to place links on your website and social media promoting your mobile app and links to download it. You want to promote app exclusive content. So it's great to have just contests that are just out on your mobile app and promote those both on your website and on air to drive more traffic to your mobile apps. And you also, again, as I mentioned, want to make sure that you have good visibility into the active user and retention rate, how many people use your app each month and what percentage continue. So once you acquire users, how effective are you at retaining them? And push notifications are a very great way to tap your most loyal listeners on the shoulder and let them know about a piece of content or a topic or breaking news or weather announcements or sports scores that are relevant to them. You can use things like in-app chat. So you can make sure this would be, you can use texting or in-app chat to enable your audience to connect one-to-one with your on-air personalities. And I can't express enough that there are so many apps out there that are just basic streaming apps, just access to the stream and nothing else on there. Try to avoid those and make your app a compelling reason for your audience to engage with you, for your P1s to take a moment to download it and engage with it. Make sure it's connected in the car to the car as well through Apple, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as well. And make sure even that they have things like texting in song requests, either through the in-app browser or a texting tool like ZipWhip, or birthday shoutouts. Those kind of things are very critical. The last metric we're going to look at is mobile tune-ins as it relates to mobile, and this relates to how many people are listening to your stream via your mobile app. Of course, this gives your advertisers a lot and your sales team ammunition to discuss how many mobile tune-ins, so you can measure and sell the value of your audio pre-roll or video pre-rolls as well. You can drive additional downloads and users with an improved app experience, again, making sure it's not just a basic streaming app. You can enable a listening appointments in the app as well. So that would be go to our app and send us in a content, send us in, maybe a photo or a sound bite through the in-app tool, through the in-app communication tool. Those kind of things really help drive app engagement. And ensure the listen live button is the first thing people see. Of course, table stakes when they go onto that app. Next, we're going to take a little bit of time examining, growing, and using your first-party data and some ideas of how you can do that. So the first one we're going to look at is the Insider Club or Fan Club, so you can really grow your membership database. There are many different names for this. It could be your Elite Listener Club, your Insider Club, your Fan Club. All of those type of things really resonate. So this is the Drive Club membership from the Drive Winnipeg. And this is just an example of, it really allows them to utilize an insiders club to collect first-party data from their P1s for the people who are willing to really engage with them. And the insiders club or fan club, if you have, a good CMS partner like Socast, you can provide actually gated content to your P1s and members. And what I mean by gated content is there is pages on your website that are only accessible if you're registered or signed in as part of that insiders club or elite listener club, for example. It can offer front of the line access to content or special offers, concert or contest announcements, or access to swag. It really can be any of those things and more, but those are some good examples of people will need to sign in to access that content. You can, if you do get a lot of concert tickets as concerts start to come back that you want to offer exclusively to your insiders club, you can gate access to enter the contest, the lottery, or just to buy them through your CMS if you have that properly. You can also use your insiders club to build newsletters and to segment audiences using your membership database based upon those newsletters. So do they want to receive your weekly or monthly? Do they want to receive a birthday announcement? Any of those things are very valuable. And you can offer advertisements, sort of premium placements on those pages because this is your most loyal group. Even though it may not be the most highly trafficked area on your site, it will give your advertisers access to a very segmented, targeted group of your listeners who are likely highly enough engaged to sign up and visit those pages with, with that specific content. You should definitely be sharing these out into social media. You should definitely make it accessible to sign up through your mobile app and to remind people through push notifications as well. But a fan club or insiders club is a great way to aggregate first-party data. The oldest trick in the book to aggregate first-party data, well, maybe not the oldest, but you as radio broadcasters have been doing this for 100 years, is on-air contest, and now we want you to take it online to use digital to get more value from those contests, and to use contests to collect data for your advertisers, for your sponsors, and of course, for yourself. So if you allow your audience at the point of entry of a contest, you should be asking entry questions as basic as name and email, but you can also collect marketing opt-ins at registrations for that sponsor. Do they want to receive special offers from that sponsor? Do they want to receive special offers on a specific product? You can also, at the point of entry, have your entry form ask them specific buying propensity questions. I always use the example of potentially giving a barbecue away with a local hardware store or barbecue supply store and asking the questions, how many times a week do you barbecue? Are you planning on buying a barbecue in the next 3 months, 6 months, or the next year? Not at all. And then you can ask for that opt-in and ask if they want, if you are able to share that information to receive special offers from that local sponsor, that barbecue sponsor for that specific. It becomes lead generation for you for that sponsor, and very critical tool for your sales team as well. You can think of it as also asking to things about a test drive, or whether people buy or lease their car, or if they're planning on buying or leasing the car, and what type of cars they have. That way you can take that subset of data, big or small, as a lead generation tool to go back to the local car dealers of different brands and really try to sell them on access to that segment of your audience. The Socast Contesting Tool is really designed, this is our brand new contesting tool, which is just rolling out, and we really redesigned it all to help you aggregate audience database, your audience data based on contest objectives, so a specific entry action. So now you can have them join your newsletter. You can say to enter a contest, you have to join an email newsletter or share something on social or play the radio stream. So you're driving listenership, you're driving up. You can still do basic sweepstakes, but you can actually get your audience to do a specific action to enter a contest. And you can actually utilize multiple actions for dynamic to really run dynamic contests. So you could have a listen to win contest where they have to play the radio stream and then send, the last 3 songs played over that 15-minute sort of cycle. Whatever it may be, this is a great way and a great new tool specifically designed to help our partners grow their membership database. And sponsored contests are a great tool. Contests that are themed around advertiser requirements, and again, can include that marketing opt-in for the advertiser. You can do sponsorships through web, social, and include a terrestrial element, an on-air element, and combine those to really drive a lot of data aggregation, a lot of engagement with your audience. And you can have sponsorship made up of both cash and prizes, and the revenue seems to vary greatly. We've heard as low as $500, and we've heard up as high as $50,000, obviously depending on your market, or higher. But really, this is having online contest is a great way to aggregate first-party data at the point of entry. Sponsored contest idea for you. One to consider is a backyard makeover. We have our friends at the Cromwell Group who do a great sort of annual one of this, where they have great website presence. They utilize social media, and then they place people submitting all of their, sort of decrepit backyards on the website and have a vote off to see, what's happened. And this generates great results for them because it allows for client opt-ins, for the specific sponsors that have sponsored it. And again, even though these numbers aren't huge, the value, the lead generation for these advertisers is still very lucrative. If they can send an email out to 261 people who have expressed potential interest in backyard furniture or, re-landscaping, etc., it gives them a really good tool for their sales team to go out and sell year after year. And it generates good revenue, greater than 10,000 plus on both of these, and thousands in prizes as well contributed. Another great contest example is a Name That Song. And what this partner did was they had all song listings removed from their website and player, but they had the users have to listen and submit the song names. It really drove a significant increase in web traffic. It generated over 6,000 contest entries and a lift in web traffic by almost 10%. And of course, they were able to collect marketing data via the web form when people came to enter that contest. Another good contest was the in-app Howl. This really drove app downloads for the partner. And what they did was they were giving away Metallica tickets and a trip to see them. And you could only enter via the app. The Socast app has the ability for audiences to submit photos, in-app texts, as well as 30-second sound bites. So they had people do a howl, send it in, and they were able to increase their app usership by 2 times with this contest. And they were able to play some of these online on air to provide some on-air content as well. Another great tool is one-to-one digital conversations. And this is not new. I mean, radio's been having one-to-one conversations for a long time over the phone. Digital offers a whole new offering of channels for you to engage with your audience, whether it's activity streams, social media conversations on your website, again, the in-app chat that I've mentioned a couple of times, allowing and enabling people to leave comments through blogs on your blogs and have that type of conversation, and of course, social media. Activity stream conversations on the Socast platform, we have a social media aggregation tool that you can put on your website. And for those of you who may be using it, for those of you who aren't one of our partners, it's a great way to have your audience sign in and leave comments, and your DJs or on-air talent or community managers engage with these people. So you can solicit through your on-air talent, the audience for conversation, and it's a great way to bridge on-air and digital programming. It allows you, the platform, to moderate all conversation. Manually is probably the best way, but you can automate it as well. And of course, because you can force people to sign in, it's a great way to grow your audience database. I also mentioned the in-app chat a number of times today, and you have the same tool as I just alluded to earlier, where you can send in a comment and their little face can appear, and you can send in photos or recordings or just an in-app text to build connection with your community managers and on-air personalities. The integrated apps deliver brand and programming consistency across your web and app. So because we have both of those managed through one integrated backend, it makes it very easy to generate omni-channel engagement, grow your audience, and of course, by promoting this, really drive downloads. Again, I referenced encouraging blog comments. It's excellent for talk and news as well. Most importantly, moderating comments where possible. So you can, if you have the tool to do that, but you can force people to sign in so you do know who is saying what. And that way you can also mitigate any risk or any highly negative or polarizing comments as well. We've talked about push notifications a little earlier on, and the power of the push notification is extremely powerful. Push notifications are a tool that can either be sent via desktop or mobile app. For those of you who don't know, you can do browser notifications on desktops as well. And it allows you to send relevant notifications to your audience to increase traffic to your mobile app and websites. So it makes people aware of what content is breaking, what news is breaking, and you can really use those push notifications to drive people, drive traffic, drive referral traffic back to a specific URL, whether you're promoting contest or content or breaking news or weather alerts, updates, sports scores, etc. It is really a great tool to engage your P1 and make them aware that there's something happening on your websites or apps that they need to tune into, and ultimately tune into your stream as well. I provided about 7 best practices for you here when it comes to push notifications. And I really want to point out that, to get your push notifications up, we recommend following all of these best practices to make sure that your messaging, your push notifications are timely, personal, and that they are actionable, that they have a call to action to drive people back to the property you want them to, whether it's your website, whether it's your app. And that CTA should be direct, clear, and within the first 30 seconds, and really attempt to pique interest to optimize those click-throughs. You should absolutely not be selling your push notifications to third parties. Apple in particular frowns upon this, but this is something, a great tool to really drive engagement. Your P1s will have to download the app and they will have to engage with you to allow push notifications to be sent through. As a measurement and a KPI to use as a benchmark, a open rate of 2% or greater is a very strong open rate, and you should have a platform that enables you to measure that like Socast does. One of the great growing areas that Socast has been really successful in, and we've been preaching for a while now, is our satellite brand. So just like Stella Artois, which has been a beer around for 100 years. Well, radio, hundreds of years. Radio has been around for 100 years and always been an on-air medium. Now it's important that you sort of extend your brands out beyond just thinking about radio and create some satellite brands, as I call them, based upon the data you have in your membership database about your listenership, about your P1s. One great example is our friends at Christina Media out in Seattle, Washington, realized that they had a very strong listenership group of young mothers. And what they did was they spun off some digital properties website into a blogging and podcasting site called All Mom Does, where they provide themed content for that very loyal, targeted audience of younger mothers. And they build loyalty with continued themed content around this. It allows their sales team to go out and sell integration of radio, blogging, endorsements, and sponsorship. And it makes it easy to sell those, bringing radio into the digital space and crossing over into the on-air space as well. So it really enabled them to go out and sell access to a very specific targeted group, a targeted segment of the audience. It also allowed for some on-air content to go out as part of the show, as part of their on-air programming, endorsement opportunities, and of course, some great synergy between their social media of the radio stations and All Mom Does could be had, as well as just having some of this blog content on some of the radio sites. So this is a great example of a group that realized, using their first party data, who a strong segment of their audience was, and then developing a satellite brand, an extension for that loyal local audience to engage with them in. Another one of our partners has done this with a local varsity sports site in Vandalia, Illinois, covering a number of connected communities on the interstate there that, you know, are smaller markets, but have a very loyal following to a number of local varsity sports and college sports teams. So they've spun off this I70 Sports.com for high school sports, and it provides just news very focused around that, provides great localized content, and adds revenue value and targeted audience access for their advertisers. It really provides them with a whole subset of different ad inventory for them. Two more great examples are our partners at Neuhoff Media have done a great job with Just Roam Away, obviously capitalizing on the trend, the post-pandemic trend and the ongoing trend that radio broadcasters are very much, our people in local communities are still likely to be traveling within the local confines and driving still for more localized vacations, not even staycations. They've come up with a Just Roam Away for the region of different travel destinations, boating, fishing, hiking around that local area to promote. And this has been a great extension, again, satellite brand for them that they seem to be getting some good traction with. Our partners at Bayshore have really beat Bayshore Broadcasting, which is in beautiful lake country north of Toronto, Canada, where when we could have big weddings and everything, and that are coming back now. They've done a Bayshore bridal show, and this is a great way for them to target specific advertisers, provide promotion of the local area for what is a highly visited destination wedding place locale, and really increase their digital inventory. And of course, for them, just having interest in listing your business or service here is lead generation for them to offer all sorts of positions on both their radio station websites as well as on Bayshore Bridal. So that form right there becomes a critical lead generation tool for their sales team as well. So some closing thoughts and things to just remember. Components of digital are all interconnected, and it's very important that you are connecting them. It is very important that you're thinking of your membership database, your contesting, all of the tools you have that are really going to help drive that critical mass of first-party data. It's important that you're measuring them and getting granular with your metrics, and that you're maintaining consistent efforts to do this. Again, we can't stress enough that breaking down the silos and having a digital task force internally is extremely important. Making sure you're looking at measuring, going back to that checklist of, do you have the data? Can you look at it? Is it shared? Is everybody capitalizing on it? And are we brainstorming collectively to make sure that we are improving our digital output and growing our metrics? Of course, identifying and reproduce success is a term I clearly like. So you want to double down on what works and expel what doesn't. And then you want to build your presence and monetize. And thinking about satellite brands is a great way to think about building your presence as more than just a local radio broadcaster, but an entire local marketing solution for advertisers, so you can turn that into dollars. Well, that's our webinar for today. There was a lot I covered. I obviously loved it. I would like to just let you know you are all free to reach out to us to book a demo or just to chat digital or radio or anything. My name is Eric. You can reach me at eric@socastdigital.com for this presentation or for any of the sales tools we have or or any materials we do have. We are going to be sending out a survey to find out if this was valuable. We're going to start to do that because we want to make sure we're hitting the nail on the head. And if you could just take a moment, it's just about a 2-minute survey. We'll be sending that out in the next day or so. So if you can, please give us your insights. Please take a minute to fill out the polls. I'll keep the GoToWebinar open a little bit. Make sure you download the Ask the Experts takeaway. Our next webinar is June 15th. Stay tuned. You'll be hearing about that over the next couple days. And of course, a special offer for all of our attendees who stuck around. Anybody who isn't with Socast to date, please sign up before August 15th, and you will receive a third off your first year of licensing on your web and mobile apps. So please check into that with Shay, myself, my colleague Hussein. Again, we love doing product walkthroughs. There's no strings attached. We're not hard salespeople. We just want to help you grow. So don't be afraid to reach out to me at eric@socastdigital.com, because we really do have the tools that you need to increase your digital engagement and revenue at your radio stations. Thank you again, everybody, for attending. Look forward to hearing from you all. I expect to get lots of emails. Please check out the polls, download the handout, and we will see you all on the 15th of July. Enjoy the 4th of July. Happy Canada Day and happy 4th to our Canadian and American friends, respectively. Have yourselves a great rest of your afternoon, and thanks again for attending.